Halftime here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Queens women's basketball team a lead by 9 points over Newberry, 42-33. Our guest at halftime today, Andy Serketich, head coach of the men's golf team here at Queens, a team that won yesterday for the first time in 2 years at the Spring Kick-Off Intercollegiate, hosted by Lincoln Memorial down in St. Augustine, Florida. You won it by a stroke.
Yep.
Andy. Okay, so I've been to these golf tournaments before with you. Sometimes you have no idea where you're standing. Everybody's on different holes. You have no idea what the team leaderboard looks like.
Yeah.
At what point did you have an idea that you could win it? Did you know where you stood?
Yeah, so like you said, some tournaments, if there's no live scoring, you really have no idea. This one, we actually had live scoring through an app called Birdie Fire. And so really throughout the day, we were in the lead after 2 rounds. Didn't get off to the best start round 3, so I knew we were right in the thick of it until the very end. You just could refresh your app. The tough part is it's at the groups, individual groups have to have somebody actually doing it. One of our guys, none of them were doing it in the group, so you're kind of like trying to check with your guy every once in a while just to see. But really, throughout most of the day, we had a pretty good idea what everybody else was doing, and we were right there.
So say entering the last hole or the last few shots, did you know what you needed to win?
Not necessarily. With it being a shotgun start, basically everybody's finishing at the same time. And so, yeah, it would have been very difficult to know exactly what we needed because you're only in one place.
What does a win mean for the program? It's your first in 2 years now as the head coach at Queens.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the next step for us. Really the first opportunity we've been in this position where we've had to lead after 2 rounds. And so it was really, really cool to actually pull it out against, like you mentioned, 2, if not 3 of the best teams in our conference.
LMU number 16 in the country, I read. There were also some Florida teams in it. They're just always good at golf. 19-team field. This seems like a good one to win. And if I can contrast this to the last victory at North Greenville's tournament back in 2017 before you were here, that's a much smaller field. So this one just seems bigger. What does it mean for your program? Will you climb the national rankings? What does it mean that we can look at as evidence of?
Well, for us, just big picture, the process is obviously looking towards conference, regionals, hopefully nationals. And so we want to be in position to play with the best. And the last few years, Carson Newman's 2-time defending conference champions. LMU, like you said, they're in the top 25 all the time. And so we want to measure ourselves against them. And so this was a great opportunity. Start of the spring season, where are we at? We'll see them a few more times throughout the spring, but it was a really good gauge of kind of where we're at, where they're at, and where we need to get to.
Take me through the celebration when everyone found out that you finally won. You did it by 1 stroke. Can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
With all the strokes that you're counting with 4 different players.
Yeah, honestly.
What was the celebration like?
Yeah, so to be honest, I was unloading our golf cart with all of our snacks, drinks, and everything.
The things that you signed up for as a head coach.
All the things you signed up for. And so I was with our assistant coach at the bus, and it had been 30 minutes, and we still weren't sure. They were still doing all the scorecards, all the double checking. And I refreshed the app, and it said final. For both of them, we were up 1. So I was like, I think we just did it. Because they need to verify that through.
Was there any doubt? There had to be doubt when you look at your phone and technology, and maybe somebody reported something wrong or something wasn't fully in.
Exactly. And that's what happened. Ellis, one of our freshmen, he told me, he's like, one of my scores is 1 shot higher than it should be. And so I knew our score was off already. And it wasn't going to be fixed on Birdie Fire until they actually got the scorecard at the end of the day. And so that could happen to any number of groups. And so you weren't really sure, even though we were up 1. It's only 1 shot. So that can change. That can change quick.
How about their performance from some of your individuals? Johnny Noble, a veteran who has been around. He finished just 2 shots behind Wanju Lee of Coker, who won the tournament. All-American. He beat Sam Broadhurst. You may know the Broadhurst name if you follow golf at all. He beat Sam Broadhurst of Lincoln Memorial, who's a former All-American. How good individually can John Noble be?
As good as he wants to be. He has every shot in the book. He played phenomenal all week. the greens were literally like Augusta National speed-wise.
You told me 13 earlier
13
today.
on the stem, which for anybody, I mean, it's just the way we measure green speeds, and that is PGA Tour quality.
Wow.
It is lightning. It's like putting on this basketball court.
Putting in your driveway, that's the old
in your driveway,
that's
exactly.
The old saying,
that's
right?
the old saying,
yeah.
exactly. And so John was phenomenal, tee to green. He's always so good tee to green. So he put himself in the best positions on these greens, which you had to if you're going to score well.
Yeah. Was there a shot or a moment that turned the tide?
That's a good question. It was once we got to the back nine. I don't know if there's any one shot, but for whatever reason, going to the back nine, everybody except for Ethan played much better on the back nine. I think John made a birdie on 11, which was one of the tougher holes for us this week. But everybody made a few birdies on the back. Taisuke turned it around. Henry played fine. Ellis was good. So I don't know if there's any one shot, but John hit a hybrid into 16, which is a par 5, to like 7 feet. And it was just a laser. And that was where I felt much better about it because it was a guaranteed birdie and maybe even eagle.
All right, we discussed John Noble. I think we know about Henry Bryden from over the years. We know about Taisuke Ono from last year, had a phenomenal freshman season. Sophomore now out of Tokyo. What about some of the new guys? You mentioned Ellis. He's new to your program this year, and he was instrumental down the stretch in helping clinch the victory. What about some of the new guys? And overwhelmingly, with new faces, what can this team be this year in 2019?
Yeah, the only one we haven't mentioned is Ethan. I mentioned him briefly, but he played great all week. He made the most birdies in the tournament. And so even though he had a few bad holes here and there, he made enough birdies to overcome those bad holes. So he was great. And yeah, looking ahead to this rest of the semester, we can be really good. Last semester at Innisbrook, we finished 3rd in a tournament with all top 10 teams. The ones from Florida you mentioned, and so we can win conference if we play our best golf.
And tell me what's coming up, any cool venues, different courses that you're going to play at this year?
Yeah, Sunday we head down to Kiowa Island, playing the Ocean Course.
Okay.
They've
PGA course there.
They've hosted a few big tournaments.
Yeah, just a few.
And so that's kind of the highlight schedule-wise. But every tournament we play in has a really good field. Just another opportunity for us to play against the teams that we need to beat once we get to conference, hopefully regionals and beyond.
One final thought. You were a golfer here at Queens. You graduated from the McCall School of Business. You were an assistant coach for a while before you left coaching and then came back as the head coach. What's it like for you to get a win, but also to be the head coach at your alma mater?
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty special. Hadn't thought about it too much because as the coach, I just think about things we need to improve, looking further down the road. So hasn't quite sunk in yet. It was a great win. Happy for the guys, proud of their work, and excited for the next one.
Well played.
Well played.
Andy Serketich, the head men's golf coach who owes me a few golf lessons.